Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why we might want to add significant amounts of healthy fats to our diet. I've used a few different approaches both for bulking and cutting, and when I discuss these different things, I don't want people to think that they're contradicting each other. These are just different approaches that are viable. Okay, and I want to be clear there because a lot of times people are like, but you've told people they can go really, really high carb and low fat when they're bulking. Yep, and many people can. For a lot of people, it's very successful. I did this on my last bulk and gained very, very little, probably no body fat, while slowly gaining muscle over the course of a year. But what I do find is that when I start to cut, certain things with satiety on it become issues. Getting proper nutrient absorption, it seems like I am going to be less likely to have muscle pulls and all sorts of other stuff if I start increasing my healthy fats. And some of the benefits to think about with these, and healthy fats, I'm talking about polyunsaturated fats, monounsaturated fats. So if I go for those sort of things in my diet, such as what I'm currently doing, to where I'm cutting and I've increased protein quite a bit, increased fat, cut carbs back some. And it's not because carbs are fattening. And I don't want people to think that I'm saying that because they're not in humans. But for stabilizing blood sugar a little better, and especially when going really high protein, I do like to add clean fats into my diet, and sometimes even make them a staple part of my diet, like a very high source of my calories. And a lot of it has to do with controlling inflammation in the body. A lot of it has to do with nutrient absorption, right? Getting all your fat-soluble vitamins. So one of the things that I do find over time is that once we cut calories back a little, we are more likely to get training injuries. We're more likely to have overuse issues, and oftentimes they're related to nutrient deficiencies can be a factor, right? Less recovery, more potential inflammation. So adding really healthy fats in, again, mono and polyunsaturated fats, tends to help mitigate some of that inflammation a little bit. It can also help slow down digestion a little bit, right? Something that when you're eating, mostly watermelon and white rice, things like that, if you're trying to bulk on really low fat, you start absorbing those things faster, right? There can be cases where insulin sensitivity might be slightly reduced over time. So when you go with this sort of approach, it can be very, very good for improving insulin sensitivity, especially when you combine it with the really high protein. So I find that adding these things in can help with these things. It can help relieve inflammation, relieve tendon inflammation, overuse problems, things like that. So what do I mean for foods for that? Well, nuts, natural peanut butter, natural almond butter, those are high on the list. Olive oil, olives themselves. I don't even think we need to always add oil. I'm not big on adding oils to our diet, right? Particularly when we're trying to cut. So hopefully having some fiber in there. So I like olives themselves, right? You can actually make salads with olives on them. Throw some walnuts in there, right? Add that to your salad, some olives and some walnuts to a chicken or a steak salad. All right, that's a perfect example of what I mean. Maybe put a little bit of guacamole on there. Avocados are great. So again, getting these healthy fats. And I don't recommend people add saturated fat necessarily. Again, you're just going to get better results with these healthier fats in terms of your lipid profile, in terms of controlling inflammation. But a lot of what we're looking at here too is absorption of fat-soluble vitamins. Before people chime in with silly stuff like grass-fed butters, that's not what I'm talking about. That stuff is not that nutrient dense. I'm talking about whole foods, like the things that I just mentioned. You're going to find you're going to get a lot more things like vitamin E in there. You're going to absorb your vitamin K, your vitamin E, your vitamin D, all of that stuff more effectively when you add those in. Okay, it's going to give you a very good balanced nutrition profile. And I feel like they can be a major part of your diet. The only thing that you have to watch with this is not taking your carbohydrates so low that it impacts training negatively. Because I'm not a fan of ultra low carbohydrate diets in my own experience. Can you take carbohydrates a little lower? Yes. But when we start going under, 100 grams a day, your performance will suffer, your training will suffer. It's simply not worth it. But you can certainly replace a lot of the carbohydrate calories and phases with the healthier fats like that. And fatty fish and things, if that works for you too, salmon works. If you're not supplementing fish oil. All right, these are all viable approaches. But stuff I'm currently doing, like at the moment, nut butter, so peanut butter, almond butter, olives. Olives are big on my list of stuff. And I like guacamole. So again, perfect example of a meal if you're going to go with really high protein, really high nutrient-dense foods, and healthy fats in your diet. I mean, that's a perfect meal. Turkey breast, lean cuts of sirloin steak, chicken breast, any sort of lean meat put on top of a salad. And like I said, you can add in olives. You can add guacamole to your salad in place of a salad dressing. Right? That works great. Throw some walnuts in there. Now we're really getting somewhere. All right, we're getting a lot of nutrients. You're going to address a lot of possible nutrient deficiencies that you might have. And these are, again, going to be fats that control inflammation. Okay, they're going to control inflammation. They're going to improve insulin sensitivity, which is what we're generally looking for. The foods that are going to reduce insulin sensitivity are going to be saturated fat, refined sugars. Now, you're going to see people in both camps of different groups will blame one or the other and claim one of those is perfectly fine. The data is pretty clear that they're both a problem there. So it's not an either or. It's, look, in excess, both of those are bad. And notice I said in excess. But it also begs the question, I think, with something like refined sugars, you do have to ask the question, why do we need to worry about excess? You probably shouldn't be adding that to your diet at all, particularly when you're trying to control body composition. I mean, let's just be realistic. Same thing with too much refined fats. It's the same way. It's one reason I'm like, I don't know about adding oils per se. All right, let's add some whole fats that have some fiber and some substance to them. You do that with a lot of protein in your diet, really, really high protein, you're going to be in a pretty good place. What I like to do in those cases then is throw in a little fruit to get some carbs and make sure I have enough carbs for training fuel. In addition to the nuts and vegetables and things, throw in a little bit of fruit. Should be good to go. So keep your diet. In that case, if you're going to go that route, instead of the ultra high carb, low fat route, go really high on protein, really high on those healthy fats, and then make sure you have just enough carbohydrate in there to fuel your training. For some people, that might be 60 or 70 grams. Other people need 150, 200 grams. It's really going to depend on how hard you train, how much workload, how much volume. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.